welcome back. She says teaching your teens to be prim and proper starts with a good cup of tea. Etiquette expert Elaine Swann is here to quench your thirst for manners. Thank you so much for being here.
Glad to be here.
This is such a great thing, I think, because so often we lose this. I think it's kind of a lost art. We're so used to a casual way of life that it's gone to our table, it's gone to our meals, to our parties, and it's a shame.
It really is, and I think just the fast pace of every family life today really makes a big difference. And so that's why I really encourage people and families to sit down at the dinner table several nights a week, not just one night a week. When I do speaking engagements, I ask the kids to raise their hands, and more often than not, it's maybe 1 or 0 nights a week.
So
let's go ahead and take a seat.
Okay.
We'll sit down. Now, one of the things that I always encourage people to do is to teach your children manners at home. Just using kind words, such as please and thank you. There's nothing that's more embarrassing than when you're out and about and someone hands something to your child, and you say, what do you say? And the child stares at you blankly because they have no idea what you want them to say. So, you know, using just simple, kind words are really, really important. That's one of the first things.
And by example. I mean, you really can teach a lot by example.
Absolutely. So you have to use please and thank you at home with your child and with your spouse as well. So that way children learn, because children learn a lot more from watching us than hearing us, give them instructions.
Start to tune us out. Now, when I grew up on the Three Stooges, and etiquette was as much as remember to put your pinky up. That's much more than
that. And there's a whole history behind the whole pinky thing. Really and truly, you know, the teacups, when they were China, they had no handles, and so the pinky helped to give leverage. And
isn't that interesting?
We still do it today, but it's not necessarily a part of etiquette. But one thing that is important is when you're sitting at the table, have your kids set the table. Napkin on the lap first. That's one of the first things you want to make sure that you do when you sit down, and it's to protect your clothes, tap your mouth, wipe your mouth. I always say encourage your children to actually talk at the table. When you're sitting at the table, it's good to teach them how to converse with food.
Not while they're chewing, preferably. But
exactly.
But not be afraid to talk.
So that's where you say, okay, listen, take small bites. Make sure that you don't talk with your food in your mouth, no slurping or burping, things like that. Those are really important things to do. Also, teach your children or have them set the table regularly. I mean, if you're setting the table on a regular basis, that's going to help you figure out how to navigate through the table setting. We go to weddings and different events and we think, oh my gosh, what is this? Which one do I use? And so if you're setting the table every night on a regular basis, then you know by the time you get out in town.
That's great. And you know, there's another thing that my kids do that makes me crazy, but I have to, I've gone through each child and I have to keep reminding them until it's the knee up on the table, this thing. This, you know, they sit and they eat and oh my gosh, it makes me crazy.
Sit up straight and keep your feet on the floor. The thing about it is we're teaching our children to do this at home so that when they are out and about and they grow into adults, it won't be such a hard learning curve for them. They may go to a job interview that takes place over lunch. How are they going to act?
That is so true, and I don't think a lot of people think about that.
Absolutely.
But you don't have to necessarily use them all the time, but to know them, you know.
It's important. It's just important. And it's good because it's all about consideration for other people. And when you're slopping over your food and, you know, reaching over other people's food, it's rude. And so teach them good manners at home.
Right. I mean, you know what's going to happen when all the guys sit down and eat, but hopefully they know how to kind of clean it up when they're with other people.
Exactly. How about a son that has to kind of impress his date?
Exactly. Well, and we were kind of chatting about how you can kind of gauge the family a little bit when you have the child over and see how they interact, how they are at the dinner table.
It really makes a big difference.
And I hope that my children aren't embarrassing me across the country.
Don't embarrass Mom!
That's right, but there's so much to learn. Now, one of the things I'd love to ask you, because this is often confusing, you have 2 forks.
Yes.
Do you work out to in? Is that the general?
Yes, whenever you go from the outside of the establishment or restaurant to the inside, and so you work outside in. Doesn't matter what the fork looks like or what size it is, it's just outside in. That's how you know what to do.
Okay, and if I were to teach my kids the proper way, the knife and spoon on the right always.
Correct, always. And then if we have a tea setting here, but if we had a water glass, it'd be just above our knife. Our knives and our spoons and our glasses are to our right.
Okay, and never reach across the table.
No, and if you pass, say for example, I say pass the salt, it's better to pass the salt and pepper together, just right around the table instead of just by itself.
Oh,
so even if they ask for one, you pass both.
And then you don't want to interrupt, but you want to participate in the conversation.
It's important to do that.
And make sure it's an appropriate conversation for the
Right.
dinner
And
table.
here's the thing. There's another thing with talking with your teens at the table. You really get a chance to kind of break bread together and open up, get them to open up and talk about their day. This is the time for you to really converse with them and see what's going on in their life. So you want to encourage conversation at the table.
There's so many benefits to it. You know,
Absolutely.
you can teach them how to be at the table, but also spend some quality time with them, and it's really
Quality
important.
family time is important. I'll be doing a talk this Saturday at the Oceanside Public Library, and we'll talk about tea for teens and girls. And then on Tuesday, I'll be at the Del Mar, at the Marriott in Del Mar with the Executive Women International and talking to them about how to deal with business setting, because a lot of these women are going to business meetings and functions, and they want to know how to navigate the table.
It's very important. Like it can say a lot about, and you know what? It's kind of fun. It feels a little formal and dressed up and special.
It does, and why not? A couple of nights, just try to press past that. We have such busy lives, but just taking a moment to sit down and have dinner at the table is a great thing for the family.
It's very nice. Now, if someone wanted to come attend your events, is there a cost or?
Well, the event on set, I'm not sure.
Okay. You know what
they
we'll do?
booked me and had me come, but they can visit my website.
That's exactly what we'll do.
ElaineSwann.com.
Okay, and we'll have it connected to ours. Thank you so
Perfect.
much. I
Thank
learned
you.
a lot this morning.
Pinkies up, yeah.
Pinkies up. That's right. All right. Right now we're going to head over to